Alright guys, we're on our way. Heading out to Pocono Lake, about an hour away. We left a little before 7 a.m. Gonna get there at 8, get unloaded, start building downpipe, wastegate merge, some intercooler piping. Should be good. So we got the downpipe mocked up with our pre-made bends from Stainless Bros, and here you can see we're just tacking up lots and lots of tacks on not all of the joints but most of them to leave some room for adjustment once we fit it again and make sure it's good after tacking. We're cleaning up all the edges before assembling, and this is the second piece after the downpipe and the mid pipe. Here we're just, after tacking, fitting it up, making sure it still fits well, and then we will be assembling it. And after that, if everything's good, we will weld it up. You can see this is the important part about fitting up before welding. Here, this V-band flange doesn't line up 100% perfectly, just a little bit off, and so we end up taking it back out. We fix that fit up, and then we tack that piece up. You can see I've got a filler rod here when I need it, when there's just a slight gap and it doesn't want to tack on its own. You can add a little filler. We're adding the final tacks around this flex joint. Here we're using filler since it's a lap. It's just better to add filler than to try and get it to merge, and sometimes those lap joint tacks without filler are a little weak, so they will break easily. Getting it all purged here. We've got both pieces together to complete it, and now we're going to start welding. A lot of people tell you that while you're welding stainless steel, you want to move quickly so that the heat doesn't soak in, and they say that you can't catch up with the heat sometimes if you get too warm because you spend too much time starting that bead. But I think sometimes that's misunderstood, because at the same time, in this way, welding in this field, when you are trying to get those colors, and like you can see in some of these beads how they're blue at the beginning and the rest is gold, and to maintain that consistency and get that actual bead profile, color pattern, you have to move slow enough that the beginning of the bead has time to cool off enough before you outrun your cup. And if you move too quickly, the beginning of that bead will be far too hot, and it will turn all kinds of different colors depending on your speed. So if you just move slowly and give the beginning of that bead time to cool off, by the time you outrun your cup, it'll go blue. You let your post-flow run when you finish the actual bead, and you'll have that blue start with the gold finish, which is something I have been trying to achieve. It's a really nice look in my opinion. I didn't get that with a lot of these welds, just because this is a rush job. Not a rush job, but the customer had a deadline, and I couldn't spend as much time as I would have liked to, because when all those welds add up, going slow and trying to get that perfect pattern, it really adds up to a lot of extra time. So these are still good beads. We ran them properly, full penetration on all of them. We just didn't prioritize the color and the pattern as much as we were just trying to get good beads down, good look in terms of consistency with bead profile, but the colors were not as much of our focus with this one. So if you wonder why the coloring isn't as consistent, that would be why. I hope you guys are enjoying my first voiceover video. Let's take a look at the results from the fab. I'm exhausted. Fortunately, it's only an hour. And, well, probably more like an hour and 10 in this thing, but another successful one down.